I've seen several comments on some of my videos lately taking pot shots at Cairn, and I've been trying to figure out why. So this is going to be really quick. I just thought, let me revisit Cairn super briefly and remind myself what's in it, what it's about, and then maybe I can either come to an agreement with those comments that say Cairn is some kind of overrated indie darling, or whether I can maybe refute them to some degree. So it took me a bit, but I found my copy of Cairn. Now, something to keep in mind, if you recall my other video where I've been reviewing my review and read procedures, talking about value for money, my recollection is, and this may have changed, I'm not sure, but my recollection is that Cairn is free in digital form, and I think even the print copies are offered at cost. So no profit, just you are literally just paying to have it printed. So when we are really discussing what's in here and what is it worth, well, it's worth at least as much as you paid, which is probably zero. And my personal opinion, it's worth a lot more than that. Anyhow, let's look inside. I did count the pages in here. We're talking 20 pages. And in these 20 pages, you get some design principles. Awfully nice. You get a little bit more detailed principles for players and the warden, what they're calling the referee or dungeon master. We get character creation, and then our first set of tables, which is name and background. So not exactly mechanics, but it's certainly, if it's fluff, it's very usable fluff. Would we call it data, maybe? I don't know. There needs to be some term, I think, between just mechanics and fluff, because fluff suggests strongly that you don't need the content at all, whereas name, background, similar things are fluff in the sense that they're not mechanics, but they're worth more than I think what we would consider fluff to be worth. We do get some more tables, starting traits, starting gear. You can decide whether that's fluff to you or not, but these are important things to have. Table with your spell books. I would think that's important. I would think that would fall under mechanics or mechanics adjacent. And then next to that, I think I failed to say equipment list. And then finally, optional gear packages. If those aren't mechanics, they're mechanic adjacent. And then we get into rules. So you get rules for your abilities, rules for your saves, rules for healing, deprivation of fatigue, armor, morale, wealth, treasure, hirelings, casting spells, combat, a quick bestiary, some rules for creating monsters, D100 spells, and a character sheet. And then finally, a rule summary. So when someone says to me, hey, this is some kind of overrated piece of bologna, I'm not sure what to tell them. Now, you don't have to like this. Maybe you find that the way that Cairn is laid out or the rules that they presented aren't to your taste. That's fine. But this is not a product, again, like the comment that I'm referring to sort of intimates, that this is just some kind of nonsense tables all thrown in there without any kind of mechanics attached. There's a full game in here. Yes, it's rules light. Yes, there's going to be things that you're going to need to adjudicate that don't have a specific mechanic listed in here. It's only 20 pages, but I think you have everything you need to do so. And the tables that are in here, whether you want to call them fluff, whether you want to call them mechanics, somewhere in between, they're all necessary to the game. They're all things that you will need or want to do, or at least would like to have to run the game. Your name, your background, your spells. These are not superfluous sorts of tables. I don't think there's anything really superfluous in here. There's just not enough room. So I think when I'm reviewing this and I'm looking at what am I getting for what I'm paying for? Well, if I'm buying this digitally, I'm not paying anything. So all I'm getting is surplus. And then if I am printing it, I'm just printing it for cost. And I'm not sure how much this cost is. I think several years ago when I got this, Yochai Gal was kind enough to send me a copy, so I didn't have to pay for it myself. But I think if you go on to, I think through Lulu or through whatever, you'll see I'm guessing it's a few dollars, which to me puts it in great stead. And I think this is pretty much a gameable system all by itself. Will you want to add stuff to it, change stuff? Sure, of course you will. As someone pointed out, that's no different than OD&D, that required at least two other things to really run effectively. One was chainmail, And then one was Outdoor Survival, which wasn't even provided or even published by TSR, which is always a wild thing for me to think about, that this one game by one publishing company is saying, hey, go out and get this other game by a completely different company, Avalon Hill at the time. So let me know what you think. But I think I can safely say that the idea that Cairn is some kind of all fluff, just goofy tables thrown into a package is not true. At least it's not true for me. But let me know what you think. Until then, game on. Talk to you later.